Maintaining good data is essential in any business process. You can use data validations on pretty much every field to control the data point. To build a validation rule, you need an error condition formula and an error message. Let me give you an example. In the position object, I would like to prevent the user from saving the record if the minimum pay is less than $20,000. To create a validation rule, you would want to open the object, navigate to validation rules, create a new validation rule, and I would want to call this minimum pay rule. Now, I need an error condition formula which will prevent the user from saving the record if minimum pay is less than $20,000. You have to write an error condition formula in such a way that whenever this formula evaluates to true, then the system will prevent the user from saving the record. You have drop-downs to make your selection easier. So my formula would be minimum pay less than $20,000. If this condition is true, then prevent the user from saving the record and show the following error message. My error message would be, please enter a value greater than or equal to 20,000. And I would like to display this error message next to the minimum pay field. I'll go ahead and save this validation rule and make sure it is active. Let me see if the validation rule works. I'll try saving this position with a minimum salary of 5,000. Yes, I have an error message asking me to enter a value greater than 20,000. I'll make it 30 grand and I should be able to save the record now. Let me show you another example. Since there are two fields on the position object, minimum pay and maximum pay, I would want to make sure that the maximum pay field is always greater than or equal to minimum pay. And to achieve this, I need a validation rule. Let's go create one. I would like to call this maximum pay rule. And the error condition formula would be, can you guess? Minimum pay greater than maximum pay. So, whenever this formula evaluates to true, display the following error message. The maximum pay cannot be less than minimum pay. And I would like to display this error message next to the maximum pay field. And let's save it. I'll try saving this position with the minimum pay greater than maximum pay. And I have an error message telling me that the maximum pay cannot be less than minimum pay. I'll make the needed changes and I should be able to save the record. Let's talk about another scenario. I have a business requirement. Whenever a position record is being created, the open date should be the current date or any date in the future. It cannot be a date in the past, basically. To achieve this, we can create a validation rule. I call this open date rule. Now, I need an error condition formula. To handle scenarios like these, there are a whole bunch of functions available like date and time, math, logical, and text. I need something to help me with current date. In the list of date and time functions, there is a function called today. I can use this. Select the function and click on insert. You can see the syntax and explanation of what this function does. Today returns the current date. So my error condition formula would be open date less than today. And the error message would read, please enter today's date or any date in the future. I would like to save this rule. Let's go try it out. I'm creating a position record. I'll put in the open date as some date in the past and save it. I see an error message. However, if I put in some date in the future, the system should let me save the record. Let's do one last example on validation routes. We have the scenario when a user tries to update the status of the position to closed filled or closed cancelled or closed not approved, and if the closed date is not filled, then the system should prevent the user from saving the record. That means if the position status is updated to closed, then the user should fill in the closed date before saving the record. To tackle this, we need a validation rule. I'll call this closed date rule. We need an error condition formula to check if the status is closed filled or closed cancelled or closed dot approved and the closed date is black. So my error condition formula would be status equals closed filled or status equals closed cancelled or status equals closed dot approved and closed date is blank. I need a way to check if the closed date is blank. There is a function called isBlank. This formula evaluates to true if the field is blank. So my formula would be isBlank closed date. Since the status is a pick list, I cannot use this formula like I've done here. There is a function called isPickVal. The function lets me check the value of a pick list. So let me rewrite my formula. And now it would be isPickVal status closed filled or isPickVal status closed cancelled or isPickVal status closed not approved and isBlank closed date. To make it easy to read, I can rewrite this formula like this. Take a moment to understand this. The error message would be, please fill in the close date, and I would like to display this error message next to the close date field. Now let's go try it out. I'll try to edit the existing position record and update the status to closed cancelled and leave the close date blank and try saving the record. You see the error message? Let me fill in the close date, and now the system should let me save the record. I would like to share with you a cheat sheet that contains several examples of validation routes. You can use this as a reference whenever you need to create any. Please do skim through the document to get an idea about different scenarios where you could use validation routes. Let me also show you how to use formula fields. For example, I would like to know the number of days the position was open. To find that out, we need to create a formula field. I'll go ahead and create a new field and choose the data type as formula. And the formula would return a number since I'm trying to calculate the number of days the position was open. My formula would be close date minus the open date. This formula might work fine if the status of the position is closed and you have the close date available. But what if the position was not closed yet? You would want to probably know since how many days is the position open. In that case, the formula would be today minus the open date. The formula needs to tackle both the scenarios when the close date is present and the close date is not present. So we can use an if statement here. If the condition is true, return this value. If it is false, then return this value. So if the close date is blank, then the formula would return today minus the open date. And if the close date is present, then it would return close date minus the open date. This formula tackles both the scenarios if the close date is present and if the close date is blank. I'll go ahead and save this field and make it visible to all the profiles and place it on the page layout. Let's go and check how this works. I'll try to open this position record. The status of the position is open and approved. The number of days the position is open is calculated by subtracting the current date minus the open date. If you open the same record tomorrow, you'll see that number increment by 1. The formula is clever enough to handle the scenario when the close date is filled. I would like to share with you a cheat sheet that contains several examples of formula P's. Skim through the document to get an idea about different scenarios where you could use formula P's. Now, you can go ahead and work on assignment number 2.